Hey everyone, what's up? My name is RaZr, and this is RaZr Plays. And today I want to do a money making and perfect setup guide for Emerald Lake in New York for Fishing Planet. This is for a lot of the low level people out there, or people that just want to come back here just to farm walleye and make some quick money. There are better ways to make money in the game, but this is definitely a good one that's pretty cheap and low level. And I'd rather come here than do Texas, actually, because you can actually make a little bit more money, even though it costs a little bit to get there. But with these tips, you'll be making tons of money in no time. All right, first let's start off with the setup. And the setup that I'm working today is the Featherlight 7-foot. Perfect rod. It's an ultralight rod. It's great for trout, bass, walleye, pike, the low level things that you'll see there. It's 3 to 9 pounds. And I put a Spirit MLR 3000 reel on there. Now this one actually, the max drag on it is actually 11 pounds. And I had another one that you can get. I forget the name of it, but it's a 9.9 pound drag. That will work as well. And I just have some 8-pound Flora line on there to kind of balance it out. A good key to note is you always want your line to be the lowest point of the three. For example, your rod is 9 foot. Your reel, you would like to, not 9 foot, it's 9 pounds, up to a max of 9 pounds. So your reel, you would want to keep around 9 pounds or less, and then your line, you'd want to keep less, so that if anything were to break or wear down, it would be your line first. All right, as far as the tackle that I have, I've got the 1/3 ounce number 2 aught hook. Now this one, you're going to catch some 2-pounders, you're going to catch some 3-pounders, you're even going to catch some trophies. And the reason you're going to catch those is because I'm using the 4-inch glowworm, and that is a huge staple. Glowworms are amazing here. So another huge tip I'll give you is always fish for the walleye if you can, mostly at nighttime. That's when they're the most active, starting at 9 p.m. And that will lead into another wonderful money making tip. You always want to try to spend as many days as you can at a place and fill up your keep net. So you always want to have the biggest keep net possible at your level. But the way you extend your days, especially for walleye fishing at nighttime, is you would start out, you extend it to 9 o'clock. It's going to give you a cool down. If you're not a premium, it might be like an hour and something, which is perfect. Spend that hour and something grinding and chasing as much as walleye as you can. Then what you're going to do is you're going to forward the time to 9 o'clock the next day. Now, once you get your first cool down, there's no cool downs between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. So then you can just fast forward all the way back to 9 o'clock and extend your time. Do not extend to the next day. Now, when you do that, it'll actually cash you out and start you over at 5 a.m., which means you'd have to extend your time again to 9 p.m. So all you gotta do is go all the way back to 9 p.m. and hit X to forward the time. It's going to cash you out anyway and take you right back to 9 p.m., which means you have no cooldown, which means you can fish as much as you want and get as much as you pounds as you want, or however much money as you want that night, and then go ahead and forward it to the next day and keep the chain repeating. And from what I've learned is if you spend 30 days on a lake, they will give you an X series, whether it be a lure or a line or bobber or something like that. They will give you an X series branding of it, which is more durable and usually the best that you can get. So it's a great way to get your 30-day challenges in and get your 30 days in, is just to go from night to night to night to night. And walleye is a great time to do it. All right, so now that we have our rod and our reel set up and our line and our tackle, what you want to do is make your way over here to the Dock of Peace, and we're going to go fishing. Now, rainy days are really great, but like I said, nighttime is the best time. And I already started fishing here a little bit because I just wanted to show you guys, so I went ahead and started recording. But there's a couple good spots. One spot is out here along these reeds by this rock. I do like this one. It's not as consistent as this other one I want to show you, and that's this first tree. Sometimes I'll fish first tree, I'll fish second tree, sometimes I might fish middle, third tree, and then I might hit over there in that spot. But all night I've been fishing this, and it was raining during the day. So nighttime they've been super aggressive. And I'm just using that 4-inch glowworm. And what you want to do is just stop and go. Stop and go is the most OP retrieval in this game. And as you can see, I've only been fishing for like an hour and something on the game. I think I started at 9 o'clock. It's at 10:46, and I've already got 58 pounds of fish. And you just want to stop and go and try to keep your dots at 3 for as long as you can. Every once in a while, just let it fall. See, just got a little nibble there. Oh, now we got another bite. But they really like to get it on the fall sometimes and get on the retrieve. So once you get your 3 dots, kind of get that going up a little bit. And then just let it drop, let it sit there for a second, and then start it again. And what I'm doing here is if they're holding the line and I have kind of like I said, this is the perfect setup. And if you notice my drag, I've only got it set on 7. I actually can crank it up another notch if I wanted to. But perfect rod and reel setup. You're not going to have too much of a strong fight. I mean, you'll have some kind of a fight, but you can actually muscle them in for the most part. But check this out as well. You don't get any experience loss. It's kind of an overpowered setup, but not quite. But it's right there at the end, and even on a 2-pound fish, you're going to make $256, and I'm getting 87 experience. I am a level 34, so with you being, or I'm sorry, at level 35 now. But if you're a lower level, you'll actually probably get more experience for that. I think you get less experience as you kind of go along, and depending on what your gear is. But this one, it looks like you're not going to lose any experience on. Perfect setup, and it's a good way to just come in here and slay these walleyes and just make you a ton of money in a very short amount of time. Actually, the reason why I'm doing this is I've been spending a lot of time down at Everglades, and I absolutely love it down there. It's a great way to make money. But I've been wanting to go to Michigan. I've been trying to get some of my gear up. So I was using Michigan as a stepping stone, and every trip I would go there, I would get a new rod or a new reel or something that would help and aid me to go to Michigan. And since I've unlocked California, and you see how quickly, man, they're eating they're eating it up. They're very aggressive, and with this setup, I mean, it just destroys them. And what I'm doing, like I said, if they're pulling out your line and you don't want to ever reel whenever they're pulling the line out, if you just hold that L2, you can kind of muscle them and hold them there a little bit. If it starts clicking, and then just like in real life, you just start reeling it back in. And in no time, you'll be bringing fish in left, right, and center, making a ton of money, getting good experience. I think the first time I came here, I leveled up maybe 3 or 4 times. Look at that, we got us a trophy. A little 4.5 pound, $394, almost 150 XP. And if you notice, that wasn't even a super strong fight. I mean, it was a little bit of a fight, but nothing too major, and I'm able to go ahead and get some good money. Alright, let's see if we can make another cast. And again, I'm just using this one spot, and you can mix it up if you feel like, things aren't going right. You can mix it up and change your spots. Sometimes they will move. Some other good lures to use here is any of the worms. Blue worm is great, purple worm is great, glow worms at nighttime. You can even use some of them other lures at nighttime, and it still will work because these fish are very active and aggressive at nighttime. But you can also use grubs, and they really like the narrow spoons. The purple amylite color is a great one. The black one's a good one. You can use gold. They will work. There's also some nighttime reflective ones that will work. But the most effective one that I've ever found that works consistently is the glowworm at nighttime. And that is literally the only bait you need. I think if I do need to fish during the daytime for whatever reason, I might use the purple worm. But even the glowworm, believe it or not, will work during the daytime. Just during the daytime, it's just fewer and far between that you'll catch stuff. This one, if you do it just right, every cast, you should get a bite, and you should get a fish. Now, I do miss fish. I've had them hit maybe 3 or 4 times, and still miss the fish. And sometimes what I've noticed is, like earlier, I was fishing, and I was actually using a little bit bigger hook of the jig head. I had a 1/3 ounce, but I had the number 3/0 hook. Now, rule of thumb is the bigger the bait, the bigger the hook, the bigger the fish. And you got to know your lake and know how big the fish are in there and what you're going to normally get. So I had the bigger hook on. I kept getting a lot of little bites. I couldn't really snag them. I would catch a fish here and there. It wasn't super consistent. I really wanted the volume. I wasn't so concerned about getting the biggest fish. And I've used this setup before, and I knew that with this setup I could still get trophies. So I went down to a number 2/0 hook, and I've started catching more fish. Yes, you do get the smaller ones, but now I'm not missing those fish, and at least I'm getting the money for them. And I'm still able to get the trophies, as you can see. And this is another good one. Let's see, this should be another good 3-pounder. And since I'm using a 4-inch worm, you can use a 3-inch worm or a 2-inch worm. Just know that the smaller the bait, and again, that you're using, you'll get some of the smaller ones. And you may not get as many of the bigger ones. But with this strategy, you will definitely still be able to pull in a lot of them in a very relatively short amount of time. Let's see if we'll make one more cast out here. And again, if you notice my setup at the bottom, I have got my line, my rod, and my reel, and everything is working perfect with this setup. I have, well, other than the fact that my rod should be the most strongest thing in my line, and since I am using that little bit of higher reel, if I would have been using the 9.9 reel or an 8.8 reel, for example, then you would see your reel just be a little bit less than your rod, and your line be a little bit less than your reel, and then that means that everything is working perfectly, everything's consistent, everything's going down at a pretty good rate. And I don't even have my drag set up too high, just in case anything does happen to hit it really big. I can turn my drag up as needed. You never want to start out with it too high, so that if you do get too big of a fish, it just automatically snaps your line. But like right here, we'll just turn this drag up a little bit, and see, I got it into the orange, and that's still okay, as long as it ain't red. But in this one, I just feel like, it's a little over. I don't need it. Let's just go ahead and keep it right there. I apologize if you hear any sounds in the background. That, of course, is my wife vacuuming. You got to keep a tidy house. But I just wanted to let you guys know this is my money-making guide to Emerald Lake, catching walleye, using this setup, using the 7-foot ultralight spinning rod and reel combo that I have here, using a glowworm at nighttime, 9 o'clock, fishing this first tree off this dock. And you guys will be making a ton of money and getting a ton of experience very fast. If you guys ever have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments, and I'll try to do my best to get with you. See if we can catch another one here. And I just use mine on a 3 reel speed for this, and just stop and go, stop and go. After this, we'll see how much money we've made so far. I've been fishing for, looks like, a little over 2 hours in game. Oh, there's a little bite. I'll just let it drop back down. We'll see if we can entice him again. See if he wants to go after it. Oh, I hit it again on the fall. See that? I'm going to switch my reel speed to 2 since I'm so close, so I can try to keep it right there in the middle a little bit more. See if we can get him to go for it one more time. Maybe not. Alright, we may not get him this time. Now I have caught them within 20 feet, 15 feet of the dock, so I always give them a chance to, maybe they're lagging behind and you can get you a quick little easy catch. But that one we missed. That one must have been a really small one. Let's try again. And I do have fluoroline on, like I said earlier, 8-pound fluoroline, and that stuff should make it drop to the bottom quicker. Braided line will take a little bit longer, but with it being so deep out there, you notice it takes a while to get to the bottom. That's a good time to grab you a drink, light you a cigarette if you smoke, check your Facebook. And some people also go with a 3-second rule. Sometimes I'll do it if I feel like it. Sometimes I'll start going, but sometimes if you just let it drop to the bottom, just wait you a couple seconds, just kind of let everything settle, let everything set up, and then go ahead and entice them. I've had it happen twice. It was pretty cool. I had them actually strike it on the fall, just casted it out, and as it was falling down, I got a strike. And it kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting it because I had never had that happen. But just be prepared. It can happen if you drop it right down there, just right in the perfect spot. All right. I'm gonna light me a cigarette right now, actually. All right. See if we can catch us another fish. And as far as I know, walleye, you won't catch them too much on the top water. You kind of want to keep it more towards the bottom third of the screen. Sometimes I'll get it to about halfway, and right there, so you get about to halfway and you drop it. That's when they want it, and you just got to anticipate it and just be ready for it. But the more you do it, the more you'll get the practice, and you'll start to learn the fish that you're going after, and learning what kind of stuff they like. And the key to it is just in fishing in general. I'm not honestly not even the biggest fisherman in the world. I just started really getting into it from playing this game. But the real key is to know what the fish like, know what they like to eat, and know where they like to eat it at. And then all you got to do is just mimic that action as much as possible. And so what I just try to mimic basically is, since I'm using a worm, I'm just trying to inch the worm along and just kind of let it float and crawl and kind of bob up and down, and maybe you feel like it's like weak and dying and it's just kind of limping and kind of waving down to the bottom. I'm kind of enticing them. Be like, hey, there's some food right there. And especially with it being a glow-in-the-dark worm, I mean, they can't miss it. They can't miss it at nighttime. This is almost cheating right here. This is easy farming for XP and money. I love it. But like I said, I'm just getting some money up so I can go to Michigan, and I'm going to be fishing for pike and maybe some blue catfish. And if this series goes over well and people like the money making guide and the setup guides, then maybe I can do some setup guides for some of the other lakes that I've been to. I've been to North Carolina and Missouri and Texas and Florida. And I found some really good spots over in Florida that I might share with everybody. I found some really good money-making places for bass. And I've caught a ton of trophies. And I caught my first unique there. And I've already caught about, I'd say, 6 or 7 uniques. And one of them was a 12-pound bass. I caught several 11-pounders, some 10-pounders, 9-pounders. I actually even caught, and I didn't even mean to, but I caught a unique 36-pound common snook. Or I think it said common, but it was a unique snook, 36 pounds, which I think might possibly be on the top 100 for that species in that lake. The 12-pound bass did not make it. I checked that. It wasn't big enough. But I think my snook made it. I mean, if you notice how easy this is money making. Let's crank this up a little bit. This is a small one. This didn't put up a fight at all. Yeah, it's a little redfin pickerel. Now, you will get those. You'll get redfins, you'll get chain and grass. Now, you can get some trophies, though, since you're using that bigger worm. But since I have that little hook, there's a chance the little mouse are going to get to it, too. So you just got to take the good with the bad. I look at it, it's still all experience, and it's still all money. Now, there's when I first started playing this game, I didn't realize, but you only get the money for the fish that you keep. So you don't get any of the money for the fish that you release, but you always get the experience whether you catch it or not. So that's always good. And also another great tip is always try to get you a keep net if you can. They have 2 different versions in this game. They have keep nets and stringers. I actually chose the stringers off the bat because I thought, wow, they're letting me have more fish per pound at my level than the other one. Then I realized that once you have a stringer, it's not fish friendly, which means you cannot release any fish. So if you get to the end and you go over your limit, you're not able to release anything, and you just have to just take what you take. So you have to be a little bit more selective with what you take, which means that you can't maybe take all your little stuff, and you just have to be a little bit more picky. Excuse me. But if you take a keeper, a fish keeper, oh, we got a personal record, a Sauger, 3.4 pounds, $278. That's not bad at all. But if you take your fish keeper, like I was saying, then if you go over the limit, you actually have an option to go into your fish keeper and release some fish. So what you can do is you can go in and release your cheapest, lowest fish, and maybe you say you're not quite done fishing, you just want to get a couple more fish because maybe you found the groove, so you can just release a few fish and then go from there. And maybe try to get you a little bit bigger fish and get you some more money, so you can play it that way. And I like that a little bit better. At least having the option is always better than not having an option and having to selectively choose as you're fishing, because you never know what you're going to get later on. You might start hitting a bunch of trophies, and you know that you're going to hit another trophy probably, or hit another big one because you found a good rhythm, and that's the best time to do it. And we got another one. Let's go. Oh, try not to lose your low tension. You saw how that went really blue there. You always want to make sure you keep tension on the line and on the rod and on your fish, and watch out for them to jump and spin. The best time to reel them in is when they jump, actually, when they come out of the water and then they come down. Then you can just reel them in. So what you want to do is just hold them. If you have a lower line setup, is just don't reel in when they go to pull out. If you notice your line going out, is just hold it. Don't reel in, just hold them there, and be ready for that rod to come back up. And when it starts coming back up is when you start reeling in, and just work the fish slowly, and then actually find that you'll actually bring the fish in a lot faster that way. Is let the fish work itself out, let it get tired, and then you can bring her in. Let's see if we can catch one more fish here. There's a little nibble. Oh, another little nibble, missed him. It gets me on this technique sometimes, because when I'm getting ready to hit my button to reel it in to do my other little drop, sometimes is when I hit it and I hit my reel in button. As soon as I do it, I miss the timing. But hey, persistence, patience, that's the key. And we got another one. Another $250 to $3. Alright, so I've been here in game 3 hours. I fished from about 9 p.m. to about 12 p.m. I've made about 92 pounds of fish, and I've made about almost $8,000. And it only cost me about $3,000 to get here, so I've already made my money and then some, and I haven't even filled up but maybe half of my fish keeper. And if I wanted to, and this is what I want to show you, is we'll just go ahead and show you what I was talking about, because I think I should be able to. Now I have still have to wait for my cooldown, but what I'm gonna do is just to show you guys is I'm gonna skip my cooldown, and then what you do is you just go straight back to 9 o'clock and hit X to forward time. And what it's going to say is your stay on your pond has extended, and if you wish to extend your stay for one more day, press extend. If you want to go back home, press go home. Cost $500. And what the advantages to this is, now you can stay on the lake, and you only have to pay $500 to fish, when actually your license was $600 for a day. So actually it's going to cost you less to fish this day than it did the first day. And you don't have to come back and spend all the travel expenses, and then you can just make your $500 back really easily and couple fish, and then everything you're going to make there is profit. And see, I've already made more than enough profit, as you can tell. I made almost $8,000, so I've probably spent $3,500 altogether right now, and I've already made more than that. So everything from here on out is straight profit. So hopefully all these tips help you for Emerald Lake. Hopefully you guys can be having fun, catching some fish, making some money. This is a great experience and a great game. It is a grind if you don't have premium and you don't buy your way there, but it's good to just enjoy the experience. As always, just leave a comment, or let me know if I can do anything better, or if you have any other helpful tips or suggestions for other people. That would be great. Don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button. And this is RaZr Plays, and as always, stay sharp.